So unfortunately, people try to often hide assets during a divorce. We find this very often. I can't tell you how many times someone comes into my office and they have a spreadsheet of all the assets and they say, my spouse gave me the spreadsheet of all the assets. And we say, that's great, but we should still do the discovery and go through the documents and exchange the statements of net worth to make sure. And I can tell you, we have found literally millions of dollars that were left off those spreadsheets that were so-called accurate spreadsheets. One way to hide assets, and I always look at this on tax returns, is on the tax return. You may actually decide that you are going to overpay your taxes. And so if you overpay your taxes, hoping that your divorce will end and the refund goes into your next year's tax return, well, you may have actually just hidden an asset. And so it's very important that your attorney check those tax returns where there is a line for refunds and see if there is an overpayment of taxes and if you were entitled to that. Another way people actually I would say hide money is that they don't reveal what their bonus structure is, or they defer their bonus over years. And they may actually decide that they're going to defer their compensation in some ways and work out some sort of a mechanism with their employer, who probably will be all too happy to do this, right? To defer the compensation so that they're not actually getting their compensation at the appropriate time. By deferring that compensation, the person who is not the person receiving the compensation is going to have a more difficult time figuring out what is the actual compensation. And of course, then it also could result in a different formula of what the spouse actually is entitled to. And when I say that, the spouse who is not the working spouse who is supposed to receive the bonus. So I would look at compensation. That's a place that people hide assets. Restricted stock units. People don't always reveal those restricted stock units that they receive. That's real compensation. It is deferred usually over a 3 or 5 year period, unless it's some sort of a cliff vest where it all vests at one time. They may not reveal that. You may need to dig a little further to get that information. Another place is if there's monies that are in trust. They may not reveal that they have those assets, that there are distributions coming to them. So you need to actually look at it, and you need to be very careful about going through all of the discovery documents. It's important to review the documentation.